Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Everyday Tantra. My name's Peter Peterson. This is Monique, darling, and we are with one of our best friends in the entire universe.
The man who started it all for me.
It's Star Wars and Star Trek universe. Reid
Go both
Mihalko,
ways.
one of.
I think you go always, baby.
You go always. But really, thank you for being on the program, and thank you for being our friend and such an ardent and staunch supporter of what we do. And just thank you. Yeah, you're really one of our favorite people, and such a delight to talk to because I love the way you mix in humor and pragmatism with like really valuable information. Like you make information not just like sitting in the third grade biology class, like going, oh my God, like this is so boring. Like you make the energy and information that comes from you is exciting and fun to listen to. It's like, and it not only is it exciting and fun, but you're like, wow, like I can really use that in my everyday life.
I'm like that social studies teacher who came in and dressed up as different time periods, and you're like, this dude's crazy. So thank you.
Yes.
But the thing is, you do all of that while still welcoming the mystics and the woo, and like just are a translator across the boards. And you're such a unique human, and we're so blessed to have you in our life.
Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, I have much gratitude and appreciation for both of you, and that anyone thinks I have anything useful to offer. Like, it really does strike me very deeply, because like my insecurity is that I'm completely full of shit, which also might be true, but that I'm actually giving information that's not helping. And those are a lot of my insecurities from my childhood, growing up in an alcoholic family and things like that. But what's interesting is learning how to navigate my own life and then sharing the things that have helped me with other people, even though I'm insecure about it. Like, that's me, that's all of me, the dorkiness and the weird like insecurities, like, and I just bring that with me. And for you two, like, there's the side of me that's super woo-woo, and then there's a side of me that's super like pragmatic, sciencey. So like the joke as a sex geek, like I go both ways, but like I go woo-woo and science. And for my comic book nerds, Thor, the first movie, it's like your science is all magic, but father, I love Jane. You know, like Chris Helmsworth is, you know, doing his Thor's best. So for me, a lot of it's all the same, and it really is just your perspective. And if you can line your perspective up with the other person's perspective, you can actually talk, even though you might be a little bit country, I'm a little bit rock and roll, you're a little bit woo-woo, I'm a little bit pragmatist, you're a little bit Star Wars, I'm a little bit Star Trek. Like we can all get together, can't we?
We can all meet on the same playing field. And
Yeah.
that's what we're creating this weekend. Is we're creating a summit of a bunch of different teachers with different points of view and perspectives of how they connect with energy
And pleasure and deliciousness.
Yeah. And I think the first question I'd like to ask you is, how did you awaken to this energetic world? Like, was there a moment where you're like, holy shit, energy's real? The like what Yoda's talking about in Empire Strikes Back is real. Like the force is real.
Yeah, but the little mitochondria shit like that happened in the
wanna
movie
get
we
into
don't
that.
talk about. Exactly. Come on. That all being said, for anyone who's watching who wants to, take a deep breath and just go, oh. What I love about the weekend that's coming up for the energetic sex playground is all the different perspectives. And Monique, you are a collector of perspectives. Like all those doors lead into the same room, like all those streams lead to the same ocean. And the way that I look at it might not be the best way for somebody else to look at it. And when you can kind of create that smorgasbord of a bunch of different ways of looking at things, why that's helpful is for some people, like you're like, oh my goodness, like that is the way I copy paste. Like that's the way that gets my foot in the door. And when you nerd out on all those different perspectives, you get to like, sometimes you capture the idea that will help your friend get their foot in the door, or your lover or your partner or whatever. And so like for us nerds who are collectors of perspectives, that's part of what's so beautiful about it. Like we have, it's almost like we're a physical trainer who has all these different exercises, and you're like, well, I don't really like weightlifting. And they're like, totally cool. Like we have all these other things. Like there's lots of different ways to get fit, to get healthy, to move your body. It doesn't have to be treadmill. It can be dance. It doesn't have to be, kickboxing. It can be qigong. Like there's all these different perspectives that help attain similar outcomes. And that's one of the things I'm so excited about the weekend is there's so many different kinds of people. Also, like not everybody wants their energetic sex advice from a goofy white guy. Like I'm not everybody's cup of tea. And so like there's also that, like me being silly and pragmatic works for a lot of people. It rubs other people the wrong way. So it's like, how do you find all those things? Which is the long lead up to your question, Peter. For me, energy really started back in my martial art days, and like learning how to connect and fight, but more importantly, learning there's certain knockout techniques, tuite in Okinawan, around like nerve techniques, and trying to hit a nerve point on a moving target that's about the size of a pencil lead when it's behind you. Like you can't see the point, the attack point, but you have to hit it, not being able to see it while everybody's moving full speed. There's a kind of energy tracking that we didn't call it that back then. And it's a lot of other things like micro movements, and you just kind of tracking body positions and knowing bodies moving in space. Like all those things add up to like having a certain kind of awareness, a certain kind of spidey sense while moving that's really useful in combat, but also really useful for healing, really useful like during sex, like all these things of just trying to understand bodies. So, so for me, those like trying to feel, what's not there, those exercises come from back in those days. And my sensei and I like in the middle of the night, because we also lived together in college with some other people, like he would wake me up in the middle of the night to like try out new things. So like we would be like sitting in a dark room, like I'm like still asleep, and he's like coming at me, and I'm like, fuck. It's like all that stuff
No.
leads all these years later to me, like, how do I put into words and describe an experience you haven't had yet in a way that leaves clues for you so that you can start to get your hands around it. And that's, kind of the inspiration for when Monique asked, like, what do we talk about? What do we title this? I'll take full blame for the title of this video, which is what, Monique?
Do you have a reptile asleep in your butt, Reid?
I don't know. There were a few trips to Vegas, a couple of trips to Vegas that were very foggy. So possibly there is a reptile asleep in my butt. And for myself and my Kundalini awakening experience, when I experienced Shaktipat, like it felt like a snake slithered up my spine. And in that moment, I knew enough about Tantra and the symbolism around Kundalini and some other sacred sexuality things where I was like, oh, wait a minute. Like, I'm not having a stroke. Like, I think this is why they call it a snake curled up in your coccyx. Like, because for me, everyone's different. It felt like something woke up and slithered up my spine. And that, in all that context, allowed me to remain grounded and calm and curious rather than freaking out and panicking that something was happening that was wrong to me. And I think in those moments where new things are happening, when you cannot panic and orient yourself with curiosity, those things can be really life-changing too, like life-saving even.
So can you just share just like a couple of minute version of, because the class you're teaching for the festival is energetic sex for pragmatists. So what are a couple of ways that the pragmatists can speak to the mystics and the mystics can speak to the skeptics, so we don't shut each other down?
Great. So I'm gonna talk to my skeptics first. So my science people, like, I'm with you. I got you. You don't have to believe in shit. You don't have to. I know the internet exists. I'm talking to Monique, who's in India. I'm in Portland. I don't understand how it works. It's almost a miracle. And in these days, that Zoom even does and Facebook Live does what you want it to. It is a miracle these days. That being said, I don't need to understand how the internet works for me to be able to access it. So for my sciencey folk who don't speak woo-woo and you have a lot of skepticism, you don't need to get rid of the skepticism. Where I would put your focus is placebo effect is real and measurable. So even if all this woo-woo shit is fake, as long as you're having fun and it's consensual, it's real. Like, it can be placebo effect. That's how I get my skeptic, like that side of me, in the door. For this other part of mystical experiences, what, like, we don't have science for this yet. Like, we build nuclear reactors now, but decades ago we didn't have the science for that. It was possible, but we didn't know how to do it. Now we can. So my invitation is to just stay curious, stay present, and explore. And maybe one day we'll have more science for the woo-woo. Like Thor said, our magic is your science. Like, maybe one day we'll have it. And even if we don't, as long as you and your partner are having fun, like, if my lover needs me to chant to a fucking crystal for her to come really hard, guess what I'm doing? I'm chanting to the fucking crystal. Because me, as a sex geek, like, I want that person to have a lot of pleasure. And that's me being my pragmatist side. And I still get shut down sometimes, where people will say things and I just have feelings and I'm like, I don't want to play. But at the same time, for my woo-woo folk, understand and have as much empathy as you can that, like, the things that work for you may not work for your partners. So where do you find the overlap where you two do work? And how can we stay connected without shutting each other down? I can have my beliefs and you can have your beliefs. And is there a way for us to still play? And that's what we'll cover in the class, just by how I teach, because I'll be speaking in both dialects. It's not the focus of the class, like how to get woo-woo people and pragmatists to love each other, but it's one of the benefits of the class, because I'm constantly phasing back and forth between woo-woo and science. Me taking a deep breath, letting out sound, I know what that's doing to me neurologically. Me looking at a friendly face, staring and eye gazing, syncing up our breaths together, like taking our symbology and using it to create erotic connection. Because if you are getting turned on by the fact that we are accessing our gods and our goddesses, and we are becoming archetypes and emerging our erotic energy and our etheric lingams and our etheric yonis, or whatever you want to call them, like if that is a turn on for you, great. I'm sitting over here pretending I'm a fucking pirate and you're Batman and I'm getting turned on. Great. Let's do that. It's understanding these things about how our bodies work and also how our minds work. And whether you want to, like, paste the GUI of, Tantra on it, or the GUI of kink, or the GUI of, like, marriage or whatever, like, we're using the same neural networks, and some of that shit we don't understand yet. And that's the woo-woo for me. So my job is to just make it fun and then try to laugh at ourselves and not take ourselves so seriously, like so sacred that we're just like assholes about it. Like, I hope we'd like to put a little bit more fun into how we're playing.
Thank you. I want to just interject real quick that if you have any questions for us, please write them in the comment section below. You know, a lot of these concepts are maybe a little hard to grasp, and you might not have, you know, a context for what it is we're talking about. And if you have any clarifying questions for us, please feel free, and I'll announce them to Reid and Monique, and maybe we can help clear up any other underlying questions that may be bubbling up inside of you. Reid, I'd love to ask you and Monique, what was the very first energetic sex play party like that you guys ran together? Because my first time meeting you was at this class that you guys both facilitated, and
day after Thanksgiving.
day after Thanksgiving, and it was wonderful. And I'm super intrigued, like, how did you guys collaborate together? Like, okay, I'm going to do this and you're going to do that. You're going to showcase this and I'm going to talk about that. And how did that come together? I'd love to see how you weave together your magic and your love of energy. Like, how did that happen?
You want to start, Reid, or go second?
Well, I mean, I'll start in that. I'll say, you're the reason I teach this stuff. Monique was the one who, because I used to not be very open about, I mean, I was open about a lot of stuff. I was not open about being a mystic and all my woo-woo. And Monique was like, no, like the way that you put it into words, like, more people need to hear this. So it really is like my gratitude to you, Monique, for being the one who coaxed me into, you know, like coming out of the closet basically around woo woo, and then making me put it into words, because then the problem to solve was, how do I teach my woo woo folk and my skeptics? Like, how do I be like basically bisexual and make it make sense to everybody and make it accessible? And for me as a geek and as a teaching nerd, like, then it was like, oh, wait a minute, like, this is a really delicious, useful problem to try to crack. So, I mean, for you, Monique, you know, you really are the reason I taught that first weekend down in San Diego. Like, well, I don't even know how many years ago it was, like more than 10 years ago. And then, like, for you and I, the first time that we taught together, where exactly was that?
It was also in San Diego. That was at Touch's place at Puanua.
Yes, was that the one that Dave Boda went to? Was that the first one? Yeah, with the hot tub, and we had everybody. We had like 16 people. Everyone. We had six.
No, there was 22 people. Honey.
We had 22 people in a hot tub
back then.
Yeah, like and Dave Boda was there, and a bunch of awesome people. Like we had 22 people crammed into a hot tub. I mean, it was packed, and when everyone got out, there was like this much water left in it, but it was amazing. And that was all. Then that was because of you too, Monique.
Yeah. Oh, it's been so much fun. And like, you were the first person that I could actually talk to about this stuff, because I've been shut down for so long and made wrong and called crazy, and you were like excited and wanted to hear about it. So it's just, I'm happy for the ways that we've inspired each other. But for the energy sex play party in particular, I remember we were flying on an airplane between one of our tours, and we've been doing a lot of play parties. And I said, Reid, what if we did an energy sex play party for people that aren't ready to go take off their clothes? And you're like, okay, let me think about this for a minute. And you went through, and as you do in your genius ways, and within like 10 minutes, you're like, okay, bam, bam, bam. People have to wear their underwear. There's no physical penetration. Here's the things. And I'm like, can we do the runway? And I'll never forget your face. And so we write up the description, and we do it in Oakland, and all these people show up, and then we start the music, and everyone's sitting on either side, and you're the first one to get up because you want to show everybody, and you hate to dance, or you have a hard time.
You secretly like to dance. I know it.
It is true. I literally, everyone, I'll just out myself. I was in a Salt and Pepper video in 1993. So if you go watch the None of Your Business video, I am the cowboy at the very end. So yes, I dance, and I don't particularly like to dance, but Monique came up with this marvelous idea of like doing this like runway striptease kind of thing. And I'm in my head, I'm like, this is never going to work. But Monique's like, this, we have to do it. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then we did it. And then nobody would go first. So now I have to go first. And like, it was awesome. It worked great. It was genius.
Reid had these Captain America underwear and everyone was just cheering. And then I think half the room went, maybe even 3/4 of the room went after Reid because they were all excited to be the one down the runway. And so it was just this fantastic opening for people that were like, you know, I'm not into group physical sex, but I love energy. And so having group energetic sex, like it's just opened up so many avenues. And you know, our dear friends Emily and Michael are going to be running an energy sex play party during the festival.
Yay.
So that's to answer your question, Peter.
Good. That sounds like it was a wonderful inspiration of ideas coming together.
So let's just take a minute and talk about the festival.
Sure.
Yeah. Did you want to add something else first, Reid?
No, I was just going to say that like your penchant for leaning into and wanting to lead with exercises like has always been a really nice compliment to me, wanting to talk about it and give people ideas on how to think of things. So like, you know, and it's not like you don't have words for things, but like you lead with experiential, I lead with concepts. And I mean, I have experiential exercises too, but it's really fun because we get to like merge the things that we lead with and weave them together. And that's part of the fun, right? And it's an excuse for me to get to see you. The virtual event, I don't get to like be in the same room and hang out with you two, but it's the next best thing given the situation. And for people who are trying to build connections with people virtually, playing with and learning how to play with energy can be really, really powerful and exciting. Because I've had some really, really hot dates with friends and lovers of mine from across the world because we're getting to play with energy. And that's just another thing that can be added on, you know, another crayon in the crayon box of how you get to connect with people.
I love all of that very much. And anytime we get to spend with you virtually or physically is just a treat, Reid.
So say more about the festival.
The festival is going to go over 48 hours and there's going to be a lot of classes. So luckily the classes will stay online for 2 weeks. So don't kill yourself trying to stay awake and watch and participate in all of them. I think it will be impossible. But there's a whole lineup of people from around the world that are offering their skills and tools and things that they've loved, from breath work to the heart fought to the energetic play party and energy sex for pragmatists, to couple work and being able to connect, whether you're in the same room or miles apart, like Reid was talking about. And then I also have, because it was so important to me, I've had so many people, and I know my own experience was growing up feeling all alone. Like I was the only one, I was crazy. And so for all of my energy sensitives that have ever felt that way, then I have people that are coming on to talk about how to be able to integrate those pieces and know that you're not alone and that there's a community for you out there. So there's this whole range of pleasure and pragmatism and just beautiful different ways to tap into how does energy might occur for you and how can you play with it more deeply. And it's May 16th and 17th, Saturday and Sunday. And it's just a whole smorgasbord of amazing energy sex where it can be, sexually stimulating and charging and beautiful, but there's not going to be nudity and there won't be penetration, like not physical penetration, but there can be all sorts of energetic penetration if that's what you're into and want to explore and experiment with. So we'll put the link below where you can get tickets.
Yeah. So my question for you two, like in all the geeking out that you've been doing with folks just in general, but like what's something new about energy and playing with energy that either one of you has learned like in the last couple of months or the last year? Like anything new for you? Any new aha moments?
Well, I wasn't ever really into breath work so much. And especially here, taking this time off during the quarantine time, then I've gone a lot more into breath work and finding there's these deep trance-like spaces that I could only go to in making love or connecting like in different ways that I can go to now in breath work. That's like bringing up a lot of the same endorphins and the trance-like states. And like, there's so much energy in breath where for me, it used to be so boring. And I'm like, why do people do that? And now there's this whole other realm of like, oh, I get it. Like this, when can we do the next breathwork session? So if there's any type of energy that you've been rebelling against or pushing or resisting, then just here's a sampler for you to get to try different tastes. And there might be something else out there that you could enjoy that you never thought you would.
What about you, Peter?
For me, it is a reawakening of my connection to nature and the outside. So being locked up for so long and not really being able to go outside, a few weeks ago, we were like, you know what, let's just go down to the Ganges and just see what it's like down there, because
we're just gonna sneak down.
We're up on our balcony and we're seeing people go down to the Ganges and like play in the water, and we're like, we want to go down and have some fun and be a part of, be in the nature and in the water. And so we finally just got up enough courage and just like, you know what, if someone comes and arrests us for being outside, fine, we're just gonna go do it. And we go down and we sneak down this little path, and I'm just reawakening, like, oh my God, like there's so much
butterflies everywhere.
There's butterflies, there's cows walking along, and there's just so much energy in just regular nature that I was like, wow, this is what I've been missing in my life, is just getting outside and connecting with the wind and the sun, and also being aware of the natural elements, like these giant, like fucking lightning storms and thunderstorms. They're just like blowing my mind. Like, oh my God, Reid, the lightning storms here are the most amazing on the planet. Like, I've never seen lightning bolts like this before. And so it's awakened me to like, wow, there's energy in nature, and it enlivens my body and creates more awareness and awakeness in my body. And I love sharing that with other people.
Peter's been being energetically penetrated by all the lightning while we've been here.
No,
speaking of
there's
Thor,
the energy, and then like you just don't want to get hit by it. Because when you guys, the video you two had of you all like dancing in the rain, like that was so moving. And then for me in my head, I'm like, don't get hit by lightning. Please don't get hit by lightning.
Right. It's not worth it.
We waited until the lightning had passed over.
Yeah, we were strategic in our dancing.
For my sense of peace, thank you. I appreciate that. Aww.
So is there one or
thank you.
Go ahead, honey.
No, I was just gonna say thank you for all the hard work that you and all the people that are supporting you are putting into. Like, this is not easy to call into existence. And it is a great gift especially for people. I mean, even I'm self quarantining with my partner Allison. We got a rescue puppy, who's not a puppy. Dax is 2 years old, so it's like a dog. But like I'm very lucky to be together with people in a nurturing environment. But I know that there are lots of my friends and people that I'm working with who are alone right now, and even I'm like, whatever week this is, 6 or 7, like now I'm starting to feel the impact of all this time. So like that, you're creating this and generating this and calling it forth, like this is going to be really impactful for a lot of people to help them find alternate modes of connection and to kind of, keep their brain engaged and merge their brain learning with their body learning. So I just want to say thank you for that, because I think now more than ever, this many weeks into it, we need things like this more than ever. And some of us don't know we need it. Like there's this weird kind of hunger or thirstiness, but you don't know what your body or your brain needs. So my take is that what you're creating, what you're feeling called to bring forth, is actually going to serve lots and lots of people. So I just want to say thanks for that.
Thank you. Thank you for being part and saying yes.
We want to be like Obi-Wan Kenobi. Remember when he says to Luke Skywalker, "You just opened up a door to a much larger world." That's who we want to be. We want to be that person who, like, oh, hey, here's this door, open, like, look through this door and explore this world, because that's exactly what happened to me when I went to your energetic sex play party that time 5 years ago. You opened up a door to a much larger world, or a whole galaxy I didn't even know existed. And so I supremely appreciated that moment. I mean, there was a life-changing moment. And so we want to offer that to other people. That's why, at least for me, I don't want to speak for Monique, but why I love doing this work is I love watching people get that aha moment. And then I get to relive my aha moments, like, oh yeah, when that light bulb goes off and I get and understand how energy works and moves through my body. I love watching other people have that transformative moment. So that's why we do this work.
Thank
So
you.
Reid, because you and I both love to add value, would you be willing to just offer 1 or 2 tips to the people that are watching right now, if they've never been able to connect to energy, or they're wanting to connect more, especially that are watching?
We also have a question. A person's asking for an icebreaker exercise for non-woo-woo partners. So if the partner is not really into woo-woo and you are, do you have an exercise that could help connect those two, and an energetic exercise that could help connect those two people together?
Yeah, I mean, some of the ones that I would recommend, especially for non-woo-woo folk, is, so anything that you can do, and it depends on the person. Like I know I can move my body. I've been in a Salt and Pepper video, right? Like I used to date Barry Manilow's dance choreographer. Like
Yes,
I kind of can move. However, it takes me like 10 or 20 minutes to go through all my stages of 7th grader anxiety, school dance, like weirdness. I have to be moving my body for like 20 minutes to then start to loosen up. Whereas other people, I'm so envious, they just get on the dance floor and it's like it's no problem for them. So around non-woo-woo folk, helping each other get into your bodies, my caveat is, just because you're a pragmatist doesn't mean it's easy for you to be somatic. Not everybody's instantly somatic. So any kind of ice-breaking exercises where you can help each other get out of your 9 to 5, as if there's a 9 to 5 anymore, but like to get out of your day-to-day headspace and insecurity space and into your body, and actually like starting to loosen up. And for a lot of people, it takes like a good 10, 15, 20 minutes, and which requires us to be patient. And for some of my woo-woo friends, you're not fucking patient because you drop into the moment immediately. And then you're waiting for everybody else to find, to get into their bodies. So ice-breaking exercises around like breathing and maybe massage, which sounds so cliche, but like helping each other get, into your body. Wrestling, if it's playful and fun, it can feel awkward and kind of self-conscious, but like trying to find a way to help each other get into a playful space and use play to get to the sacred, or making play itself sacred. Those kinds of exercises can help, because for my woo-woo friends, chanting and burning some incense and they're in. But for my skeptic friends, they're like, I don't, Om Namah Shivaya, what the fuck is that? And Ganesha, like I'm talking about an elephant, what the fuck? And you're making it worse for them. So please don't chant.
Half man, half elephant.
I'm just saying. I hope that
So
was
I love
useful.
that. It's very useful.
No, it's good.
Thank you. And I think those are great
You're
tips and
welcome.
tools for people. And so that we're going to have opening circle at 8:30 on Saturday morning at Pacific Standard Time. And it will continue pretty much one class every hour until 9 p.m. on Sunday, the next day, Pacific Standard Time. So come join us. Reid put the link below. It's only $69, super affordable. And if that's even too much, then we do have some discount tickets and we have even a few scholarship tickets left. So just reach out to us and we can give you that code or be able to tell you what you can do to get the scholarship tickets. So if you're feeling the call and you want to be there, we want to make it so you can be there.
Thank you so much for all the work and generating, being the allspark for this. I really appreciate it, both of you.
Thanks, honey.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your love and joy of wanting to enlighten and help people become more themselves. So yeah, we really appreciate you as well.
Thanks everyone for joining us. We hope to see you this weekend. Bye, Reid.
Please share this video with your friends. Come.
Yes.